No, good question. So, because JSX is more like XML than HTML, every element has to close. You have to have a closing tag for every element. And for empty elements, you do that by just including a slash before the closing angle bracket. So things like images, line breaks, stuff like that. If it doesn't have any contents, if there's nothing between the opening and closing tag, you can just write that as one tag with a slash right before the closing angle bracket. Yeah, thank you. Now, this isn't a very interesting component. Let's make it at least a little bit interesting by putting in some state. So to put in state, we need a constructor. We said render is the only method that's absolutely necessary, but if you want to use state, you need a constructor as well. So then we can just initialize state, this.state equals some object. And let's give it a property of name, which we will set to Chris. I can still put my trailing comma that I like so much. Yeah. Where? Line 1 at the end. Well, okay. After I wrote the constructor, I guess that one went away for some reason. Because it never would have rendered hello if that weren't there. I don't know. It went away. Weird. Yeah, something, I don't know if it was an autocomplete thing or what, but somehow that went away. Uh-oh. Got a little error here. So because we are inheriting from React.component, we need to make sure that the constructor from React component still runs. So if we're running our own constructor, we still have to call the superclasses constructor. So this works a lot like it does in other languages. Just call super. So if you're going to write your own constructor in a React component, you have to call super, because there's a lot of important stuff that happens in the constructor for React component. All right, so now we've got some dang data. How can we put it on the page? Well, in our JSX, if we just throw in some curly braces, we can put JavaScript expressions inside there. So in this case, this.state.name totally works. Now that could be any JavaScript expression, pretty much. So if render actually had some variables in it, we can include that. But generally, we use this to pull things out of state or out of our props. But render is just a JavaScript method that happens to eventually return some JSX.
Wait, why when you said end before, did you not just say like this.state?
Just to demonstrate that it wouldn't have to come from state. I could also include some local variables in my JSX if I wanted to. So just to demonstrate the difference.